job.
Dude, same.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, Alex. So I did talk to one of the workers, and they said
Not
that
happening.
they told me that the shift that's from like 1 to 10,
Uh-huh.
and they said that I have to work weekends, even though if I'm still like working at Splash.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walmart requirement is a weekend thing.
Hey,
So
boys.
weird.
You can have one weekend day off, just not two.
Hey, boys.
Yes.
What?
Ada.
Ada, ada.
Uh,
What is that? What is that?
She asked for it in my chat.
what? Huh? What was that?
Moon was like, ah!
Okay, let me
No, you
try
sh-
mine. Let me try
No,
mine.
Yeah,
you
do
should
it,
have
do
heard
it,
the
do it.
one. No, you should have heard the one when she reacted to mine on my video.
Shut up.
She said, "Ah."
Sounds like a fucking dog. Sounds like a dog. What the fucking chihuahua?
That's the new RR.
It just
Okay,
makes
go
me think of
ahead,
an angry chihuahua.
You'd know about that, wouldn't you? Didn't you have an
Yeah.
angry
Sorry, I was
pissed
trying to
off
get my
My
chihuahua?
parents do, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, are you guys ready?
They still have. Okay.
Yeah, they still have.
Yes. Yes, let's hear it. Hey, let's go.
Not bad, you know, not as good as the professionals, but you know.
Oh wow.
The professionals being you and Vaughn.
Yeah.
Me, I'm
The
not a
voice just
professional.
cracked, okay?
No, you guys
we
are just the ones who do
professionals,
it
Fawn.
more often
That's
than anybody
true.
else.
Hey Max, welcome to the stream.
I mean, if you get, if you can really see me and Alex being really good voice actors, I mean, yeah, we're all for it.
Bro, I would love to be a voice actor.
I would
really
love to be a voice actor.
That'd be so
Me too,
much
I can
fun.
make the choking cat.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
You're not wrong.
You wouldn't need a random online sound effect. Just, oh, yeah, this is one girl that can make the sound of a dying cat. We need her.
There's this one chick who just sounds like a.
I could be Stitch. Yeah,
dying
Maggie said she could be
fucking
Stitch.
feline. You could be Stitch. Oh, that's so cool.
Speaking- wait.
That's actually dope.
I heard there's a rumor that they're making a live action Lilo and Stitch movie.
I don't know how I feel about it.
I don't know how I feel about it. It'd rather be like,
Hold on.
well,
Is
I don't
Stitch
know.
live action?
Yeah, well,
He better-
it's rumored. It's rumored. It's
He
rumored.
better look like himself from the cartoon.
Yeah, he
Doesn't
better
it?
look like his animated self.
He-
That
He
just
better
sounds
not
weird.
look like a human version of Sonic.
No, that'll be terrifying.
That's atrocious.
Well, from the pictures
Strange.
I've seen, again, it's just concept art still, but like, I
I
don't know.
saw that
It
too.
looks okay.
It looks good.
That's shocking.
Everything's shocking these days.
So
I
what are
hate
we just
the
doing?
idea.
A game of squads until others hop on?
I
What's the
think
status with
Maggie's
Feck?
the only one. Feck had a date night tonight, and I don't think he's getting on.
Ooh, yeah. Where'd they go?
Ooh, wink,
Uh,
wink. Ooh.
From what I saw,
I'd watch it just to watch it. Fair.
I think they went drinking, and then they I know they saw like the lights in the park kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think
Oh,
they're home
man.
now, but I could be wrong.
Drunk Feck. That's gonna be interesting.
You know what drinking leads to, huh?
Oh yeah, I do.
Wait, what?
Party,
Yeah,
No.
party.
party.
Oh well, there's so many scenarios to name it that, but you know, yeah. Let's just say party for now.
I don't fully understand. so I'm
party
just
for
gonna
two.
Keep it at party.
Party, yeah. You know, this is a friendly, family-friendly.
Friendly, family friendly. Ooh.
Yeah, no, I don't.
We're
want
far from
Family friendly. Fuck shit.
Like,
bitch.
don't get me wrong, love you, Nick A30, but I don't think I can go family friendly. Unless if he was to peep my stream and be like, oh guys, no cussing, Nick A30 is in chat.
Fuck.
Well,
Shit.
Fuck, I can't swear.
I mean, Cypher was pretending to be Nick A30 and try not to cuss, and he actually say fuck. And then Nick was like, "Oh my god."
I'd just be the one to like swear, realized I sweared, and respond to my swearing by swearing.
You know,
Mhm.
you'd be Laserbeam from that news show that he was on.
Mhm.
He's like, well, the kid
Oh, I'm-
fucking shot me, and then they're like, hey,
Yeah.
family friendly show. He's like, ah, shit.
Yeah. No, he had like a fucking interview or something.
Whoops.
So Mr. Beast is having a tournament, by the way.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah,
Tournament
$1 million.
what?
$1 million if you're the top player in his creative map that he built. Mag says
Okay.
she's never swore. That's a lie.
Yeah, we're gonna go back to that
I
video, Maggie.
wish I had proof.
I have
wish.
multiple video proof.
Oh, I'm the only one with the crown. Crap.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah.
Let's get her a crown win.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all got our asses kicked last time.
Oh
we
wait, I
played.
already
Oh,
have
yeah,
a crown
that's-
with.
You have a crown win?
I have
Yeah.
4.
So then you
Yeah.
should give me your crown.
Holy
I-
shit.
I have-
If you
I
want
have
to,
4
yeah.
also.
No.
No, yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
Vaughn, what the fuck? You have 4 fucking crown wins, bro?
Maggie says,
Yeah, me
not
and
enough
Jackie,
proof
me
didn't
and
have a
Jackie
crown.
won like
Yeah, I don't
think
either.
2 back-to-back games. Me and her were playing together.
Not bad.
Yeah, so me and Jackie are tied for crown wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really. I thought you had a win. I have a regular win. I don't have a crowned win.
I'll give you my crown. I'll give you a crown.
No.
Yeah. No, you
I'll
can't-
find
you
one. I'll
can't-
find
you
one.
can't-
I'll find
no,
one. I'll
you
find one.
can't.
I'll find one. I will
Alex, I will drop it right now.
find one. Moon. No. I
Test-
won't. I won't take it.
I
I'm
am
not taking
dropping my shoe. I am dropping my foot. You will take the crown now. Well, I mean,
Dropping
I'll
your
take the
shoe
crown.
and your foot.
I need to
Never
go.
mind.
I'm lagging so bad, bro. I don't understand.
Oh, now you're lagging, Britt.
Why are you dropping your shoe and your foot?
I've been lagging. I've been lagging since the season began. Really,
Did you not
Alex,
turn
where
down
are you?
your settings?
I did.
Nowhere.
I just did more right before the stream.
Yeah,
Oh,
I have
Alex,
mine
why
on
you
the
so
lowest
bothered?
settings. Because I don't want your crown. I don't want your pity.
No, Alex, come on, please. Come on.
I got a guy on there.
Let me give it to you as friendship.
As
No.
friendship.
Get it.
Yes.
Come on,
Yes.
Oh, I
Alex.
fucked up.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
In the middle of the
I will
battlefield.
earn my own. I will earn my. I'm not
Please.
taking it. I will drop it. I will drop it if it ends up in my inventory.
Ah,
Drop it like it's hot.
I will earn my own crown.
Fuck off.
fine.
I don't have any. I should be on next game. Should be on next game. What do you mean?
This guy. Bye bye.
I'll work towards a crown with. Yeah, I have to get a win first. Yeah, we have to get a crown and then we have to win with the crown.
Unless you
Yup.
want to kill somebody that has a crown already.
Well, yeah, if I can find one, yes, but I'm not gonna take one.
You just gotta find the most sweatiest person.
Hey, where's the sweats at?
Build mode.
Build mode. I
Yikes.
stole my
Yikes.
shit.
Not wrong. Build mode.
I got shield keg. Or, yeah, Britt. You want to do shield keg with me?
Yeah, sure.
And I got 2 now.
Bush Warrior, I feel like was better in last
Bushware?
season.
Good one, Alex. Bushware.
For sure.
For sure.
Okay,
Heavy
for
on beat that mission, yeah.
Okay, Alex, 1 or 2? Pick 1 or 2.
2.
2. Britt, 1 or 2. Jackie, 1 or 2.
4.
But 1 or 2.
That's 2 twice.
Yeah, it's 2
yeah.
twice, yeah.
So 2.
2? Okay, well, the first one was Tactical Army, and since we got 2 votes for Stormmark, I'm picking that.
Oh, Stormwar's better anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, the combat is actually pretty good. I was able to hit a solid 110. But I guess it was probably all pellets. which kind of makes sense.
I don't like that. I don't
Where is the
like
upgrade station? I'm kind of confused.
Okay, so out of all the
Oh.
augments you guys have seen so far this season, what would you guys say is your favorite augment?
Bush Warrior.
Which one? Bush Warrior?
Oh wait, actually, Bush Warrior and where I can
Got that?
amp up my pistol and reload faster.
Go
with,
to
any
Vaughn.
like light ammo.
Over.
See, I don't carry a
Come on.
pistol often enough to justify using that one.
Somebody call me. What?
Yeah,
Yep.
come here.
Well, that was
Go to moon.
Jackie, yeah.
There
Thank
go.
you. I just realized the flags have our banners.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cute.
Yeah, I got the boombox.
I got the spider.
I think I have
Glider is
Imperial.
mine. Yeah, Maggie said glider is her favorite.
Oh no,
Look,
I have
you-
straight up Darth
augment.
Vader face. Okay, cool.
You
cool,
got
cool.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And
I did not know
Jackie
that.
has
Ooh.
a star.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
favorite augment is the one where if you open any container, you have a chance of finding a splash.
That too, yeah.
That one's a
I got
banger
Bush
one.
Warrior.
That's a pretty
Bush
good one.
Warrior.
I like supercharged, and I like sprinted something, whatever the fuck the sprinted one is.
Oh, the one where if you sprint over, you like regain some of that.
Yeah.
Gain health, yeah.
Yeah, no, that one's a good one. No, it's not. It's not health. It's more stamina. Like you don't waste your stamina.
Yeah.
Oh. So bad. I'm.
Yeah, and then you just have like infinite stamina for a couple seconds. So
Sorry, I made that weird noise. I just found a gold
shotgun
rocket
is cool.
launcher.
Yeah.
You found a
Ooh,
what?
Nice.
A gold,
Gold
rocket,
rocket
launcher.
launcher.
This is the chest that I was gonna open too. That's depressing.
Oh. You want
That's
the
sad.
rocket launcher then?
Yeet.
No, if you want to use it, go ahead.
You know,
missed
there's a small
opportunity.
chance that yeah, I'll use it, but not on myself, you know.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Really?
Never ever on myself. No other time.
As I
Not
say
on
never
me.
and I fucking blow myself up.
Yeah, genuinely, I'm waiting for it.
You're
It's definitely like that.
so nice.
I'm so nice. Me?
Yeah.
I'm Darth Vader, bro.
Oh, you know what? Good point. There's a purple rocket launcher if someone wants it.
Oh, I'll take that.
Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's a nice feature. It auto marks ammo when you drop it.
Yeah, they had that in the beginning of like I think season 3, chapter
That
3.
that's a good feature.
And I'm glad they added that. Honestly, we
They
need
auto mark
that.
what? And what now? What? Huh?
It auto marks ammo when you drop it out of your inventory.
Oh, yeah. It is a very
And I
nice
think
feature,
that's
I agree.
Um,
You need that.
eliminate opponents with a bow or DMR. See, that's the problem. I can't hit shots with a DMR.
Then hit a shot with the bow.
Where is a dirt bike?
I don't know. I've been trying to find one.
Yeah, 'cause I need points.
Excellent question.
Yeah, I still need to drive like 10,000 more meters.
Oh, another show kick. Interesting.
Well, somebody's got a hammer.
I also
at
need to
least.
bounce with this. Yeah, I need to
Wait a
keep
minute.
bouncing with this
I
hammer.
need-
I just
for a
noticed
mission.
I
something.
need bounces with a hammer. So many bounces with a hammer. It's not even funny anymore.
I need
just
like
noticed something.
70 more.
I need 151.
Jesus!
Oh, not
it's
that,
not even funny
Um,
anymore, man. It's
Well, I
it's
mean,
just
it ends
stupid.
after today. There's
Yeah.
people by me, by the way. They're
I just
shooting
noticed
at me.
this, a
Coming.
small detail. Brit.
Yeah, good. Hi.
Yeah,
if
what's
you
up?
notice by your health bar on the top right corner.
Gotta
Bob,
run.
you need a bow?
Gotta run.
Wait, what happened? What?
I marked a bow. It's in the storm.
No, I'll use the
He
DMR.
got
Oh.
mechanical.
Oh, there's people. People over here.
Where?
Where? What? Where? Huh? What?
Where?
Oh,
over here.
oh, these
over.
guys, the guys who are literally
Oh.
marked.
Oh, well, I wasn't looking over there.
Nice hit.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that Brit, right by your health bar, the key is between the overshield,
Oh,
which is weird. It's usually like at the end.
oh, there was a third person.
Is it? I thought that's normally where it was. Was in between the overshield and the regular stuff.
No, it was on the right of the overshield. I guess they changed it. It's weird.
Did you guys kill the third person?
I killed somebody.
I killed somebody.
It was only 3 people. That's surprising.
Somebody could have died earlier.
Sure.
That's
Why
true.
is there 2? There's 2 pickup trucks on the icebreaker. Why not?
Oh yeah, those were for racing.
Hey, fish stick.
Oh,
he gets,
he has
he gets
chili
chili.
chugs.
Oh wow, you got really excited for that. Okay.
I mean, if I was Brit, yeah,
Sorry?
Chili chug.
chili chugs.
Yay!
Yeah,
Here,
because
I'll drop
didn't
them.
they
The
like remove
chilies.
chili peppers for whatever reason?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
removed
did.
peppers.
Here,
and
I'll drop
They
it
I
for
don't
was
you.
float
very,
again?
Very
Yeah,
sad.
I have no idea why
Let's go. Thank
they
you.
don't show up. I've tried fixing it multiple times, but it's
Oh, I
not
missed the
working
pepper.
with
I'm
me.
not gonna
Oh, wait,
lie, I
Alex.
do miss the peppers.
Yo,
You and I both need a bit of health.
oh,
What
whoops.
the fuck?
I'm coming back.
Yeah, use up your bounces if you need.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
It's a really nice place to be in.
Whee.
Well, I want to build an igloo this year.
Yeah, how far do I bounce with the speed? Whee! Okay,
Nah,
not very far.
not very far.
I was thinking because I moved faster, I would get more
Oh,
like horizontal
Alex.
movement. Yeah.
Did you get the balloon augment?
Oh yeah, no, I used that on day 1, dude.
You got it day one?
Yeah.
Yo,
Do
anybody
you
want
not
something
remember
from
when I
over
was
here?
flipping out?
I didn't
no,
get
I'm good.
that day one.
Moon,
What the
Vaughn?
f-
Either one of you guys
Huh?
want
What?
something from over here?
Oh,
Over-
I'm just better than you.
Here.
I like the hammer's banger.
Let me
What
check.
is over there? Is there a pistol?
Well, there's a rocket launcher that you already have. There's a red eye,
Oh,
purple
red eye.
red eye, and a
Can I have
purple
a
Purple
tac.
thunder.
launcher?
Oh, thunder.
Thunder.
You're right. You're right. What? What do you want?
No,
Can I have
I'm
a
okay.
rocket launcher?
The rocket launcher?
I have an
Yeah.
Excalibur.
There you go.
Yeah, my loadout is one of the weirdest loadouts ever.
Thank you.
Hey guys.
Yeah,
What's up?
Storm's coming.
Let's tickle.
Thank you, Mario.
You're welcome.
Let's go.
Yeet! Yeet!
Yeah.
Make
I
weird
don't know,
voice.
Alex.
I need help.
I don't know why, but like at work, I literally just envisioned like the Mario trailer in my head as I went to the part where Chris Pratt said "Wahoo." I
Person,
was
people.
myself just say
Wait, where?
"Wahoo."
What? Huh? People?
I'm just telling you, it does not sound
There's
like Mario
people over
at
there.
all. It just sounds like
No.
he says, Wahoo. It's a me.
Wahoo.
It's not a Mario Wahoo.
Wahoo.
It's just Wahoo.
Oh. Yeah, I see a guy up here.
Let's tickle.
You see the
Like the
people,
person
right?
float earlier, yeah.
I'm not blind.
I see you guys ziplining.
I hear people.
There's people right up
I'm
there,
not
right up there, right
outside,
up
so I
there.
don't see 'em.
Yep.
Waluigi time, bitch.
Help.
I
Help.
missed.
Help.
Okay,
I
maybe you
missed.
guys
I
get a bit
really
more
tried.
help.
No,
Got
they
him.
fucking killed her. Hey, bitch.
I'm getting shot at. Oh,
Got
Kill him. Got him.
no, help.
Oh, I'm
I
about to
need
die.
help.
Got him.
Nice. Be sure to save the crown for Moon.
Oh, right.
There you go.
I'm gonna call you guys.
You
This
took my
person.
crown after all.
Oh, it's a Doomslayer. He's healing his.
Well, yeah,
buddy.
but this time it wasn't just you giving it to me. I earned it.
There's
Well,
a
no,
guy
I
down-
earned it
that guy
actually.
stole
That
it.
was the guy that I killed. But
Well, I killed the other one.
that's fine.
They come towards you.
Nope, he's actually heading back towards you.
No, don't kill. Oh, thank you, Alex.
You're welcome.
You are.
There's another person
Okay.
coming behind me. Another person behind me.
Hi, Britt. No.
Guys.
I was only at 30
No,
health. Don't blame me.
I will blame you.
couldn't-
Deal with it.
He's trying
Oh,
to escape.
he's-
Wait, Alex, forget about him.
No.
I got a card. If you want to escape and get my card, you can.
This guy's a dumbass. This guy's stupid.
Yeah, you can escape and get my card. Oh, you can take the chili chug splashes too. Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep letting him do his thing.
Oh yeah, I would hammer him.
Come on. Come out.
Yeah, let's go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Only 75. I remember it hit 100.
Got him.
Nice.
Excuse me.
That was delayed.
That was very delayed.
So, anyways, how you guys doing?
Oh, well, yeah, dead. Practically.
Yeah, Alex, you.
I got one of those
Okay.
guys. I call partial credit.
Yeah, no, you can take your partial credit. I'm just saying, I lived it, you guys didn't. Whee!
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck was
I'm,
that?
I'm
huh?
still lagging like crazy, so I blame lag.
I'm just moving fast as fuck.
Yeah, but when you were sliding, you leaped.
The 2-tick, right? Hell yeah. So yeah, just fly into the circle.
Yep.
Yeah, what else are we gonna do?
Circle flying.
Stay in
We're,
the circle.
we're just gonna fly into the storm, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's totally fine, you know?
Definitely.
It's not like we're gonna get storm sickness. I'm first?
Yeah, I think
were you the
this
first?
season
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna be last.
Well, I haven't been rebooted yet, so
I-
I haven't been one to justify my own shit.
Somebody trying
Here,
to
guys, I got minis for y'all. There's one for
Oh.
you, Vaughn, some for
Thank
you,
you, sir.
Moon. Why is there fire?
Yeah, why is there fire?
Oh, that's why there's fire!
What?
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Where?
So,
What?
someone was
Where?
shooting us with a fire bow.
I'm going to this location over here.
Here. Boom, boom, boom.
It's
Brett!
water bay.
Uh,
Water bay.
Or not. Just AFK.
I was grabbing
There you go.
berries.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see the bitch.
I found my baddies.
Just me.
Why is he beaming me? Why is he beaming me?
What?
What the fuck?
hell
It's
just
a
happened?
fucking balloon perk.
Yeah. No, it wasn't even him that killed me. There was another person. I'm just here. Hi Maggie, how you doing?
Oh, you're kidding, right?
What are you doing? We're all fighting.
Really?
I
Really?
was.
Really?
I said I was going to this location.
At least
And
when I
I
hit
said
him
I
once.
was in danger.
I at least when I hit him once.
Oh, jeez.
Well, good
Yeah,
luck.
so-
Now it's your turn.
That's excessively
Today.
3 people. That's so dumb. 3 people is too excessive for somebody who just got rebooted. And was down.
They teamed me, so.
Just in case.
What's your resolution at, Alex? Your 3D
Oh, you're
resolution?
serious.
My New Year's resolution?
Your 3D resolution.
Oh,
In settings.
Settings. 3 resolution. I currently have it at 50.
You have it
Oh,
at 50?
oh,
Okay. I had it at
okay.
70 and I wasn't sure.
Oh, I'm the wrong.
Yeah.
You can
Oh my
literally.
God.
You can fuck off.
Oh,
Are
that
you
was the.
serious?
Oh, that was the last
that's why.
team.
Dude.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh. That explains, yeah.
That losers.
Right after a reboot, too.
I felt
Man.
really early in the game, dude. We're only at 2 tick
Yeah,
storm.
that was
what
a
the
very
fuck?
fast game. Pennywise got yeah.
Oh, Alex went back to lobby. Okay.
Yeah, because Maggie should be about ready.
Okay. And then it's creative.
Critter.
It's
Creative.
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 She gave me a 5 minute. She told me 5 minutes. So I don't know. Do you want to try a quickie and then just drop out or what?
Oh.
Sure.
I mean, if we just stay here, I'll just fix my locker.
I want to get something Christmassy with Darth Vader.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna fix my locker then. I'm currently in the process of reorganizing everything.
Dude, what?
Yes.
Why?
I wish I could like drag skins, but I can't.
Oh, should Darth Vader have a snowman?
I like the way you asked that.
I know what Darth Vader should have. I have the perfect back bling for him.
Are you talking about Baby Yoda?
Oh God, no. That's not Christmassy, and I hate Baby Yoda.
What's wrong with Baby Yoda?
I hate The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is not
Just the
good
movie?
to me. It's a series, but yes.
Oh, what? I thought
Yeah,
it was a movie.
The Mandalorian is I think it was the first, like the start of the Star Wars series stuff on Disney Plus.
Mhm.
Now that they've decided not to make any more movies, they're
That's
just
dumb.
making stupid series.
That's
but
dumb.
I have a little backpack that has a snowman attached to it, and that's his backpack. It's perfect.
Are we just gonna be wearing like Christmas backpacks? So I got mine on.
I mean, I'm gonna wait until it's closer to Christmas to do that.
I mean, I'm normally so this month I'm just trying to be Christmas skins really, but today in both of my advent calendars I got Darth Vader. So I'm like, I'm just gonna have a Darth Vader day. So I'm Darth Vader again.
I mean, Christmas Vader. You know, the most jolly of them all.
Hey, actually, Alex, I'm gonna send you a picture of this. You're not far off. How is it my top button? That's what I'm sending you. Alex picture. There you go.
Alright, let's see.
I'm funny.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before. I like that.
I like him a lot.
I like that a lot.
But I got that one, and then in my Lego one, I also got Darth Vader. So I'm
Mhm.
like, it's just, that's
It's
what
Darth
today
Vader
is.
Day.
Ah!
Okay.
I dropped my phone.
Sorry, that was funny.
Actually, I should have done this.
My scream would have sounded like Luigi's scream from the mini game that what was that, the Wanted mini game on the Mario DS game?
Which one? Which one?
It's like where you have to find Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Yoshi.
Oh, yeah.
That Wanted game. And when you find Luigi, he's like, "What?"
And his mic cuts out too. Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah. No, the scream that
On the
that was
what?
actually
What
funny
was the system that I was on?
DS.
DS.
Yeah, that was the mini games in 64 and in actually, yeah, that was in 64 DS and in Mario Bros
snap.
DS.
Interesting.
What up?
Cool.
Cypher was on the big screen for the Spurs game. That's cool. That's cool.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
Oh no, Netflix, stop. You're ruining. Oh my gosh.
Wait a minute.
Somebody needs to stop Netflix, please.
What are they doing?
Trey plays
A
Fortnite?
live action My Hero Academia.
Wait, what?
A live action My Hero.
Why?
I
My
don't
hero isn't
know.
even done.
It's not. They need to stop. First One Piece.
Unless
Death
they're
Note,
just
now-
doing it off of the first season.
Oh, they're not gonna. They're not even gonna have success with that. I mean, look
Hi,
what
Maggie.
happened to Death Note.
Hey, Mags.
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
Hi, Maggie.
Hello.
How is you?
Oh my God.
There's your answer.
Yep. And what a lovely answer it was.
Alright. I'll organize the rest of these later.
Beep. Beep.
This motherfucker.
We gotta swap
plays
to
Fortnite.
creative.
Fucking Trey has never told me that he plays Fortnite. This bitch.
He's playing Fortnite?
He's playing Fortnite. I would have
Yeah, that's
invited him
I
a long
should.
time ago. What the fuck? Hey Alex, it's creative now. Ready up, bitch.
I'm not the only one not ready to.
No, but I don't want to yell at her. She hasn't been here in forever. You're Alex. You're also the one who commented, hey, it's not creative yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that was 30 minutes ago.
He got a technical. Wait, what? He got a technical for yelling at his teammate? Oh, that's so stupid.
Yeah, that is stupid.
Yeah, I can. If I was to,
Why
if I was to
like
be in the NBA,
That's
I would
true.
never trust a single ref.
What? What, Vaughn?
No.
What did you say?
What are we playing today?
No, I was saying that I would never trust a single referee in
We
an
can play those
NBA game.
community
if I
maps
was in the
again. We haven't done community maps in a while.
NBA. Ooh, I want to see if I have one.
Maggie, is there a map you want to play?
Yeah.
Because you said it herself. You guys been here a while, so.
She hasn't been here in weeks.
Wait, what the fuck? Why are all my maps updated on June 17th of last year? What happened on June 17th of last year?
I don't know.
Crisis. I don't know.
It was like
I
a
really
month
don't know.
before I went to Illinois.
Yay.
That's all I know. Maggie, is there a specific thing that you want to play today?
Keeps coming in and out. I keep hearing beeping. What was the question?
Is there a map you want to play?
Oh, hi.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
now we
can
can.
hear you.
Okay. My mic keeps messing up. What was the question?
Is there a map you would like to play today?
Thank you.
I like laser tag.
Laser tag? Alright.
Which
Alex, you
laser
want to boot up
tag?
yours, or should I boot up
Mine?
mine?
We could do mine.
I
I
think-
think the last time we did it was. I think the last time we did it was Fex, but I think the time before it was you.
It was me. Yeah, I think yours is the one that we haven't played the longest, so.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, jeez.
Slowly walking towards me.
It's very imposing. I forgot that I need to turn on my muted for this.
Is everyone in here? We're
Is
missing.
Maggie in here? Maggie's not in here yet.
Oh,
Maggie
she
just
is
got
down
in here. We're good.
Good luck, have fun.
Yeah, good luck.
Time to kill.
Crap.
Crap.
Why did I jump?
She's not ready to kill.
Oh.
I think I just saw someone.
Damn it!
Let's go!
Sorry,
I saw you ready up, and I was just like, oh shit, this is my time.
But
Uh-oh.
dying noise. Yeah, thank you.
Alright, 1v1, 1v1.
Hold on.
No.
Woo!
No.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I think I want to add a thing where once it hits Final 2, an on-screen indicator will pop up saying Final 2.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
You should be. I think you'll be able to do that.
Listen, the
Oh,
the
it's
dark,
very doable.
The Dark Lord, the Dark Sith, had to win one at least.
Alright, and that's the only one you're gonna win tonight.
Don't jinx
By
yourself,
me.
Alex.
Fine by me, says the Dark Lord.
I won one.
Yeah, you know, right? You're right, you're right. I got my one. Because the Dark
Like,
Lord would totally
just-
say that.
What? How did that not hit?
How'd that not hit?
What did wait? Son of a-
I'm okay with it.
Okay, so
Oh, that would have been such a cool slide! Ah!
okay, so according to James Gunn, Superman is the biggest priority for the DC studios. Oh, so I
Huh.
see why they
Uh-oh.
canceled
Final
all
two.
the DC movies.
No.
What about DC final movies canceled?
Did you ever change
so-
the walls on this to be like different colors for the ones that
Oh,
drop?
wait.
No, you're thinking of the other map. This one doesn't really matter until the last minute, and when that happens, like half the walls disappear, so it's not worth it.
Oh, you're right. I am thinking of the other one.
Which that one I've
The
already
maze
deleted.
one. Oh, you deleted?
I'm going to completely redo that one because that one was just something I made in the
Are you gonna make
afternoon.
that into like a mini game type?
It's a mini game in another world. I don't know. I'm still working on the kinks. I'm still working out the kinks.
Kink. There's a lot of kinks.
I mean, I will say I saw you.
Did you?
The fuck? Where did you go? Okay. Alright.
No, to answer your question, Alex, so according
Ooh,
to James Gunn,
all of
they
these walls are
said-
breaking now.
they said that Superman is the top priority for DC Studios.
All the ones that just lit up should have disappeared, but they didn't.
Oh, only half of them did.
Oh, okay, no, then they did. It just didn't look right on my screen.
God damn it. I've killed all but one person in both rounds so far.
Who is that, Maggie?
I missed Maggie the first round, I missed Alex the...
Yep.
Wait, are we using English? Are we allowed to use our like?
English? Yeah.
Are we allowed to use English? I hope so.
No, the
The only
second
thing I
weapon
can
that we
speak.
have in our hands.
You only have one weapon.
I have two.
The other
How
one
did I
was your
miss? How did I
pickaxe.
miss any of those? What the
Oh,
fuck?
my pickaxe.
Good thing you missed.
You have your pickaxe and you have a crossbow.
Okay, am I allowed to use my pickaxe?
The no, it will not deal any damage.
Dang it.
Yeah, Jackie.
Well, because where's the fun of just running in and hitting the person? Just
True.
use the gun that has no accuracy.
Ah! Ah! Oh my god, really?
Ooh.
What?
Alright, 1v1.
God
1v1.
damn.
Maggie got me.
It's
Why
Moon and
would I
Maggie.
just now get
It's Moon and
me-
Maggie, alright, let's go. I can't
battle
root
of
for
the
either one of
M's.
these people because I like both of them to die. I'm not gonna root for anybody.
Hazel, you go. I was kidding. Don't
What?
make nothing.
No, what did you say?
You guys aren't too
Nothing.
far apart.
How do you know?
Jackie,
Because
what
I
did you
can flip back and forth between you two and see where you are on the map.
It's like you
Jackie,
can
what did you
It's like you memorize the whole map.
It's like I made the map.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. I mean, if I made a map, I would not memorize for crap.
This is like one of my
There's
first
also a
maps
mini
I
map
ever
in the
made.
top right corner that he can follow.
That too. You guys are still very close.
say? Jackie, I'm just now seeing your video. Jeez.
Which video?
Your little brother.
Holy shit!
Yeah!
Let's go!
I was like, what video?
Dream.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh, who's right here? Who's right here? I don't like this.
I don't hear anybody, so it ain't me.
One way to
Holy
have it.
fuck. Oh, well, I heard that.
Alex?
You're no lead.
I-
Did he die?
No, not today.
Miss me.
No, not today.
Not today, Vader. You're invader.
Ah! I knew you were about to
Could've been
peek
better.
too. Thank
You're welcome.
Ooh, a couple.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
It's a boyfriend versus girlfriend now.
I will, girl.
Don't kill your girlfriend. You're gonna be a dick if you kill your girlfriend.
Just let her take your
Oh,
place,
shit.
Alex.
Oh shit! That should not
I was waiting for her to come back. I was waiting for her to come back. Good game, Megs.
Alex is a dick.
I
You
mean,
should go to
I was
prison.
already one. I was...
What the fuck? You disappeared out of nowhere! Holy shit!
The mashing! Who was mashing?
If it was keyboard sounds, it was Moon, I believe.
Yep. I was like, I get scared.
Typing a whole essay while trying to fight somebody.
I was so confused. I was like, wait.
1,000 words, 1,000 words.
That Eddie Murphy movie?
Whoa, fuck you! I shot first dead on! That's bullshit!
Ha!
Oh, whatever.
Well, I mean, at least my shots are accurate.
So are mine.
Oh. I was trying to make a storm trooper joke, but that didn't go so well.
I'm
Nope.
also not a stormtrooper right now,
Nope.
so it definitely didn't make sense.
You're the king of the stormtroopers.
Oh my goodness!
Starting your weed whacker?
I don't know where any of those.
Yeah.
I don't know how I
Starting
killed
your
you.
drag
I have no idea how I killed you.
Thank you, Britt. I appreciate you. Now, smack. Wait! Ow,
Smack,
ow,
smack,
ow,
smack,
ow,
smack.
ow.
Let's go.
I'm gonna close my door
So
because I feel like
funny.
I'm just gonna yell so loud.
I'm getting
Yep,
named
let me-
called.
I need
Close
soundproofing
my
in my room. I
wall.
genuinely need
Yeah, I
soundproofing.
so need soundproofing.
Oh, man.
I'm being
That's
called
so-
names.
Huh?
There's
being
3
called
people over here.
names.
Nope, fuck that. Nope, fuck that.
Why not, Britt?
Come over here.
What? Huh?
You're sliding to the wrong.
Oh man, dude, there were
Motherfucker.
so many people in that fucking place. What the
What?
hell? Wow, good job.
Yeah, you're bad.
Wow, you really suck, man.
I wasn't even.
Imagine being bad. Is this you two left?
Oh.
No, it's Maggie's up.
Oh, there's
Maggie's
three.
left too. Oh,
now
never mind.
there's
Really?
Just credit her and then fucking kill her. Alright, cool. Good job, guys.
two. Well, I thought you guys killed her right away because I remember there's a whole bunch of
yeah.
fighting going on.
Oh no, I bolted and Moon followed me.
No, I wasn't following you. I just came
There
across.
was
it and
only
I was
2 deaths.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, deadass. I
Oh,
did not.
God,
I'm blind.
I'm not here.
Yes.
I am not here. Oh god. No,
You're
I
not
am.
slick,
Bitch.
motherfucker.
I want to get a slide kill. That's all I want.
Payback.
Well, you're not me,
Get
sir.
him, eggs. Get him, eggs.
Ah!
Yeah, you're not you either, apparently. Yeah.
I'm jumping. I'm like literally aiming. Wait,
To be fair, I was coming over to kill Vaughn, and then Vaughn got killed right before I turned the corner.
Game keeps lagging.
Oh.
wait, Jackie, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
The
I don't
game,
know, it's
so
so
the game
great.
has different
I mean,
like
ask Britt.
visuals.
Britt,
so
did you kill Jackie?
yes, I did.
Why?
Hey,
Oh, from
I
where?
mean, why?
What direction?
It's the name of the game, man. If Alex can kill his girlfriend, I can kill Moon.
Excuse me. Oh, damn.
So is Moon like dead?
Wait, Moon's what?
Well, Moon, yes, Moon is
I'm
now
dead.
dead. Yeah, congratulations, man.
Oh.
Well, because Britt was implying that she could do that because me and Maggie were dating, but you related yourself to Moon. So...
No, I'm saying it's not
No,
so
me
bad
and
for
Moon
me
are
killing
dating.
my friend
Bitch.
Britt,
if
are
you
we
killed
dating?
your girlfriend, is what I was saying.
Got it. Got it.
Britt, are we dating? Wink, wink, nudge.
Wink, wink, nudge.
I'm
Go with
sorry.
the bit, go with the
My
bit.
friend Tara
Oh my
would kill me if I said anything other than the word no. Oh hi.
What the
What
fuck?
the
How did
fuck
any of
just
those shots miss? My
Ow,
slide
back
shots just don't
my
wanna
parents
connect.
are here.
Okay.
I even asked Tara if she wanted to play Fortnite with us, but she had to work.
Yeah, she has work. Other than Fridays and
Work.
Saturdays, she wouldn't be able to. Hello? What the fuck was that?
Oh yeah, Friday.
Oh,
and
Moon
Saturday
left,
days.
that's right.
2 days I'm not on.
Maggie just like, wait, what? Oh, probably her parents.
Oh
that's
yeah, she did. She
bullshit.
did
God
just
damn
say
it.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what you were still on about.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
her
just
parents
asked the
just got
question.
home. Well, yeah, no, but she said it before she left, but you guys were still talking.
That is true.
So who's still alive right now? Is it me and Vaughn?
Unless you didn't kill Maggie, yeah. I think it's just.
I killed Maggie.
Yeah, so it's me. Ah!
It's just,
So it's just me and.
Did I win?
I didn't pay attention.
I didn't either.
I'm gonna say I won. I have 4 wins. I think the closest was Alex with 3. So.
With 3, yeah.
Yay.
Oh.
Maggie, didn't you get? No, Alex killed you. Never mind. I was
I
gonna
got
say, didn't you
4.
get 1 win?
Everyone kept killing me.
Hey, you got some kills too.
To be
You
fair,
killed
you got a bunch
Vaughn.
of kills on me.
Oh, and Alex, okay. Oh yeah, you're right. I walked in on both of those fights actually.
I kept spinning in circles because my game kept lagging.
Alright, so what's next? What's next?
Good question.
Well,
Maggie, you have anything else specific you want to play?
go.
I kind of like the map where, like the floors cave in. Which one's that?
The Fall
Oh, you're
Guys
talking about
one
Squared Off?
that Alex did?
I think so.
Yeah, join on like the other side. No, like come like down to my level. Yeah, like on the other half of this. There you go, and then do it. There you go. Because
Yeah.
then Brit's at a higher level. And then Maggie, you join us. Come down to like in between me and Vaughn in front of Brit. There we go, and then face forward. And then do the emote. How much time are everyone leaving right now? We're still gonna be on for like another like half hour or so. So if you want to join us out, like feel free.
Oh, Maggie, you just gotta look at Alex, and then you'll see it.
Yeah, you'll see the wheel in the bottom left.
Yeah.
Is it worth? I'd say so.
Vaughn.
Yeah, I remember Darth Vader's beatboxer.
Yeah, you know, she's where the music's coming from, bro.
Yeah,
all
she's
her.
doing a ba, 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 ba. Yeah, there we
There
go.
you go.
It's all her.
Here's your clip for the YouTube channel.
Me and my
Come stop.
minions.
I'm the dumb one.
No.
No.
Instead of the blonde, it's the pink hair. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait. Alex.
Alex.
Wait, hold on.
Very funny.
No, 'cause I have pink hair too, Max.
You know, Alex, you look good with pink hair.
I'll hop on. Hype. What's up?
I don't know why I thought of this, but you would look good in pink hair.
I've actually I've wanted to do this for breast cancer awareness, where I got like a pink stripe in my hair.
Like a
Just for that.
racing stripe?
Not a racing stripe, but like from. So you know how like my hair's like has that swirl in the back corner?
Yeah.
I wanted to go from that corner to the opposite corner in the front and just have one diagonal stripe going across like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it would just be my natural hair with the pink stripe.
Would this be your curly hair, or would
Yeah,
this be
yeah,
like fresh cut type of hair?
Like my semi curly, like kind of like how it is now, because it's not all the way grown out, but it's not like short either.
It's not like teeny tiny.
Yeah, it has like a little bit of floof there, so I can have that pink stripe. Where my hair, where I always shift it to the side, that would be where the pink ends.
You got a little oomph.
All right, what else are we doing?
We're waiting for Alex so we can do the
Oh.
floor dropping map.
I'm up.
He's in the launcher.
Hurry up, Alec.
I'm gonna boot up my map while he's doing that.
You're leaving me hanging, Brit.
Sorry.
Yeah, why are we dancing on top of this?
It's very dangerous.
It won't let me.
Ah!
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we're not allowed to hug you.
Yeah, it won't let me emote.
Hugging
Drop.
is dangerous.
Shit. You can't hug on a crossbow, guys. Or actually, this isn't a crossbow. This is a bolt launcher, but you know, it's fine.
There's a name for it. I can't remember.
I can't either. I was gonna say a catapult at first, and that was very, very wrong.
Oh shit! What is it? Ballista.
Ballista. Yes.
That I was gonna rack my brain all night about it. 'Cause it's literally in Persona.
It's in tabs too.
Vaughn, pop quiz. What palace is a ballista in?
I'm the king. Oh, what the fuck kind of bed?
Shit.
For
I should
1 million V-Bucks.
Oh, now Jackie left the party? What do you mean?
Yeah, it was very, very delayed.
God damn it! I should
yeah,
know
what's
this.
up?
You totally should.
I should. Wait,
Bed.
okay. How many palaces are there?
7 or
Seven?
8. 8.
8? Okay. So I think I'm on the 5th one.
I don't
No,
even
I
see
think
you
I'm on the
driving
7th
on
one,
anything,
so
Maggie.
I'm
I just
going
see
to
like
guess
dirt underneath you, and you just fucking
the
hovering over the ground.
3rd one?
I
should remember this.
Is it the 3rd one?
Unless it might be
Because-
the 4th.
Okay, the first one is where you get Joker,
I'm so
you get
fast.
Morgana,
I'm
you get
stuck.
An, and you get Ryuji.
I'll help
The
you.
second palace is where you get the artist. I can't remember his name right now.
What was it?
Yeah, I don't
I have
remember.
the box.
And
in
then
front of me.
the
Hey, guys.
third one is Futaba.
Yep,
The fourth
Futaba.
one, yeah, okay. So then you would be correct on that?
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
Alex doesn't even know the answer to the question he asked.
Because he answered it by number, not by name. The third one I think is Futaba, and if it is, then yes, you would be correct. It is in Futaba's palace. On second thought, update and it's going slow. Okay, so then never mind, it's just us. Well, next time, again, every Monday, man, you feel free to join us.
Alright.
Let's do this.
I can bring up one of Maggie's favorite maps from my end too,
Yeah.
and do Duel again, 'cause that was fun.
Bye.
Did it duel. You finishing out the semester for real? Wait, what?
What?
Said finishing out the semester. Are you also playing Persona?
Or you mean like real life?
Fuck that. Fuck real life.
Truly.
My life is a video game.
You ever
God, I
run a
wish.
Persona
Life would be
like
so
that?
much
That'd be
easier if it
nice.
was a video game. Oh, fuck
Finals
you,
week,
Vaughn.
lame.
I'm sorry, Brett.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's sorry.
Hey,
Okay,
I
if
won
your life
Hexagon the other
was
day,
any
so you know
video
what?
game,
I'm okay.
What would you want it to be?
Real
Wait,
life was
what?
any video game, any Lego game. Oh, I
Lego
fell all the
game.
way to the
Okay.
bottom.
I would
Oh
say
my god.
any Mario game. Or you
Okay.
just play Mario Kart. Just for
Just
that.
chilling with Bowser.
I know.
Because if you think about it, like in the normal games, he's being a bad guy, kidnapping princesses, destroying the kingdom, and then you just play a Mario Kart and tennis on the side.
True.
You know, every bad guy has to have their hobbies.
You know, now I think about it because like,
Oh, fuck
imagine
me.
them doing like a behind the
You're coming back?
scenes after the Mario movie.
In the life of Bowser.
In the yeah, like even them staging how this is gonna happen.
I mean, we're only gonna be on for like half an hour
identical
more or
outfit
something like that.
with a mustache with a letter in his forehead.
So you're coming back, hurry up.
Because I don't.
Get in here.
This is the Mushroom Kingdom, so this is not a dream.
I get why we don't normally.
to die!
I get why we don't normally play
Sorry,
this
that's-
map,
That one's
because this
Come on,
one
Mario.
has like open ends on all levels that
Mario.
nobody's touched yet.
What about levels that we haven't touched yet?
This map has like open panels on levels that nobody has touched yet.
Yeah, sometimes it does that, and I don't know why. It used to work one day, and then it just decided Fortnite
Yeah,
wanted
it
to do
worked when
Uzi.
you first started it.
Well, Fortnite updates the game and it fucks my maps.
Yes.
Like,
Hi,
My
Jackie.
game is very laggy, so I fell all the way down to the 3rd level when I first got in.
Oh.
I think I died before you, so you know.
At least you got that going for you.
Yeah.
I think 'cause I cut you off. I think I cut you off.
It's
Why were you still
fine.
up there?
Because I'm good at the game.
I'm mad at Vaughn for doing that. Not you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Alex, you don't have a level underneath you anymore. You know what? I won a game of Hexagon. So.
Oh, you bitch.
No! Ah! I was trying to
Yes.
cut you off.
Can Moon get in here and just join? In
Yeah,
between?
she's
She
in.
should be able to join mid round, yeah.
Yeah. You think I know every human being in the Mushroom Kingdom wearing the identical outfit? Wait, identical.
Wearing an identical outfit with the
outfit
first
with-
letter of the first letter of their name on their hat.
Because I
Because I
don't.
don't. Oh, ah! That yell is so good.
Opposite Charlie.
Maggie.
Bye, Britt. Bye, Britt.
Maggie.
Bye, Britt. Bye,
I
Britt.
lagged when I touched you.
Maggie.
The
Oh
lag
shit!
touch, it's-
You motherfucker!
The lag touch is just
You
like the
fucking
cheese
suck,
touch
Vaughn.
compared to Olympic
You
Games.
fucking suck.
Maggie, no! No!
Lone survivor up here. Oh shit, Jackie's here.
No.
Not so lonely.
Ah, Maggie!
No!
I love how the wood breaks. It sounds so pure.
Yeah, no,
the
all
sound is
sound effects are so
horrible.
good.
Oh well, I lagged and didn't even get to
I
jump.
don't know,
That's
I like the
cool.
metal
Awesome.
better.
Fuck.
I saw Moon and Maggie both jumping for the same one.
Ah, fuck you, Alex.
Yeah. Moon! Moon!
Maggie.
Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!
She killed herself for that. No!
Yes!
Let me clear my throat after murdering.
Well, listen. Yeah.
How many
Does
rounds
this
is
go
this?
for
3
all?
or 5?
I think it's 5.
Five.
But does
It's
this go
best
for
of, it's
all
best
5?
of.
Okay, well shit. Kill Vaughn.
You know that's gonna be.
Ah, fuck me!
Brick.
Really?
Oh, bye, Vaughn.
Oh, come the
Yeah,
fuck
Britt,
on! Why am I Why am I
Oh.
missing my jumps, bro?
Not again. I'm tired of you.
Like, fucking jump fatigue.
Oh, Alex.
What?
If they were to do a collab with Nintendo or like Super Mario, they need to have.
Damn it.
They should be able to let you have a skin where you can wear your Mario suit, Princess Daisy, or Peach.
God damn you
the-
guys, get
like the
away!
dresses. No! Oh, I felt extra fun.
Vaughn, are you down on the bottom right now? Or the one underneath me? The one underneath me. Okay.
See, what I would really love is the Splatoon collab that people once talked about.
Maggie.
Oh, he's on the bottom.
Maggie.
I would love to use a
I
splatter
glitched the
shot
entire way
instead
down.
of a
That's
pistol.
fine.
Sorry,
I died first again.
Or an SMG, rather.
Jackie.
And then all the bullets are
Not
actually just
sorry,
paint
Vaughn.
bullets.
I know. Sorry, Jackie.
That would actually go kind of hard.
Ah! Oh.
I'm happy because like,
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, everybody just
Yeah.
fucking died.
Okay.
oh no.
No. No.
Oh, I forgot there's no sprinting here.
So what?
Somebody, what?
Sprinting?
Oh yeah, no, because it
Oh,
would be too
come
easy
the
to get
fuck
across
on.
the floors. Keep cutting me off, bastard.
Maggie,
I
why?
know.
Maggie, why am I having a tough time?
To make it a tougher time.
Oh, I didn't even get the animation of falling. I just appeared on the floor underneath me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you jerk, you're
I
fucking.
don't even know what
what?
just happened.
Your drift?
Oh,
Who's
well,
drifting?
that's why.
I'm the only one up top.
For now. But when you fall, you're gonna fall all the way. Oh shit. Well, speaking of falling all the way,
Oh, fuck me, dude.
Bottom.
I missed the jump.
Alex, you're a bitch.
no, you were trying to cut me off. No, fuck
No,
you.
Every fucking time I can't jump.
How are you alive?
I don't know.
This game fucking sucks.
I mean, agreed, but here we are, all playing it.
Yeah.
I pretty much
We can be
just
smart, we can be
accepted
smart, we
fucking
can be
people
smart.
over.
You're a bitch.
Yeah, I know.
I pretty much just
We could have
accepted
taken
the fucking
everybody
people
out
over.
if you would have like
Fine.
agreed with me.
Jackie.
Hmm.
Don't you just fall?
Jack, you got it. No!
Yeah, I knew it.
Damn.
I called it. I got it. I got it.
You didn't call
No,
it. You made her do it by talking to her.
I'll take my second place.
Yeah, because I was making her flustered.
With one win. That's sad.
That was so funny.
If you look at it off of time though, I only died 12 seconds faster than Mon did overall.
Oh wow.
Despite him winning 3 times. Alright, and then to Brit's map. Where are you at? Duel. Oh, this one! Yeah. Because you didn't get to do this last week.
Yeah.
Duel.
Oh,
Duel.
I love this map.
Excuse me.
Oh my god. Actually, you know what would be kind of cool?
Oh my god.
No.
What?
Update this map so you can have 2 inventory slots. One with the scythe, one with the new shockwave hammer.
They don't have that in creative.
Because they're both melee weapons.
Oh, they don't
Oh
have it in
wait, do they
grade.
have it in creative?
Oh, is it not in creative yet?
I don't know.
Do I have
Sorry.
editing on this? I do.
Yeah, you do.
Weapons, new this season. No, it's not. Damn it.
They only have like the hammer and the sword. Well, obviously that's creative stuff, but you know.
Well, they have like the red eye, the tac pistol, the thunder shotgun, the maven. They don't have any of the sword guns, and they don't have the hammer.
What about the hammer? Why don't we use the creative?
Well, they have the creative hammer and the creative sword, but there's a whole bunch of settings to that. It ain't worth it.
Oh.
How's your rover? The floor does kind of make me think of the moon.
The floor makes you think of the moon? What?
I'm looking because of the color and like all the little debris. It just kind of looks like the surface of the moon. If you look right down at it.
Sure.
Our skins kind of match.
That doesn't
they're
look
both
right.
colorful.
Just very colorful, yeah.
Burning your cup.
Just
one.
his and hers Mars rovers.
Yeah.
My power's over 9,000! No, it's not.
Your familiar
Sorry, guys,
foe.
I'm just kind of trying to make sure that you can't get through
Oh,
anywhere.
ready, Alex?
Yeah.
Want to do it at the same time?
For which one? Which one?
Boosting key.
Oh, hang on, I gotta actually find it so we can do it at the same time properly.
Yeah, we gotta do it side by side.
You said boosted key, right?
Yeah.
All right, tell me when.
All right, ready, go. You got it at the same time. Let's go. Oh, that's so sick.
I would power down too, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I guess we're having a dance party now. That's not right.
Yeah.
I saw Brit running around the corner.
Me with that little funky soul. Pack
As we're
it up
literally
like
as we're dancing,
dynamite.
I see Brit running around the corner.
Hi.
There she goes. There
Hi,
she
how you doing?
Boing.
Come dance with us.
Oh, hey, Gangnam Style.
Boing.
Yes.
No idea.
Boing.
Oh, I don't have one.
Oh, you don't have Gangnam Style? Okay, well.
I don't think Gangnam Style at all.
Not this one.
But Gangnam Style's the best one.
Fuck
What
Gangnam
about
Style,
the-
bro. Fuck that.
Hey.
What?
Hey.
What about me?
Your skin looks so happy during the hug.
Ah, yes,
Trying
that's
to
a little
track
drummer.
Doing a drum off.
Yes.
Time, go time.
Dunking on
totally
Darth Vader. Oh damn, I was gonna start spinning in my chair.
Fuck you.
My yahi. My.
Maria.
Wait, what do you do here?
Maria.
Uh,
Murder.
Yep, so just use the scythe and murder people.
Oh damn it, you got the first hit. No!
What the? Wait, what the fuck?
Ah!
Ooh, Maggie! Jesus
Oh my
Christ!
Yeah, Vaughn was really low and then she just came in and fucking sniped him.
Yeah. This is
That's the way
obviously
to
her
do it.
favorite map. Literally, Maggie is going to be the MVP of this map.
I am not surprised.
I,
in the
yeah.
slightest.
I don't
I mean, the
doubt.
scythe was her weapon that season, to be fair.
It really was.
Right.
Hey, Vaughn.
Hi, Britt.
Hi,
Hi,
Moon.
Jackie.
Oh shit! No!
Yes.
I got 2 kills at least.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh my god, that was in sync!
Uh-oh.
The reaction.
I think she got first hit and then you guys were in sync. So
Yeah.
Oh,
I think she beat you by like 2 milliseconds.
It had to be like a couple frames, yeah. I'll make sure to tell you guys later when I edit this. Oh no!
Aw,
No!
you
Okay.
fucking coward.
Wait, listen, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
Oh, Alex! Alex!
Damn it.
Don't do it!
I tried to snipe kill.
Yes!
Damn.
I think I sniped 2 kills there. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I went for Maggie and then Alex fucking fucked me up.
Alright, I know who my next target is. Jackie!
Sorry.
Jackie! Damn it.
Oh, oh, what? Why are you doing this?
What? What? Oh.
What is happening?
I'm just mad because you
It's not
both
letting me
hit
do
each
it.
other
Oh my
before
God.
I even got in there, and I died
Ah,
first.
we did it! Hey, Britt.
Hey, Vaughn.
I win.
Yeah, you only won because I was low from the other 2.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're fucked!
Oh!
Fuck you,
The
Vaughn.
freak out. What? Exactly.
Well, that's what you get, man.
Oh, soul.
You team up on the person who's doing the best, and then you kill everybody else. Get over here, bitch!
That's mine.
I'm gonna die.
Win.
Oh, let's go.
Holy shit!
No.
Hi,
Dabba dee dabba da.
Ugh.
Damn. Oh.
Oh.
Oh. So,
So much pressure.
Britt, you and I need to like.
I
do
get
something.
so close every time, man. This is bullshit.
You've gotten a lot more kills than I have. That's for a fact.
Is that perfect?
Yeah. I
Oh,
only have one.
you have one.
You have one? How could you have
Yeah.
one?
I haven't been doing so good.
Oh, Vaughn's a little bitch. Hold on. Nope. Hold on. Nope.
No, I'm.
Vaughn's a little
I just
bitch.
came out. I was.
Vaughn's a little bitch. Vaughn's a little bitch.
I was trying to plug up my phone.
My game is lagging.
I'm sorry. No!
Well, damn. Yeah, I was gonna die from Alex and Vaughn hitting me.
Come here.
Jackie.
It was me and Jackie fighting.
I think Vaughn is about 45 down. Oh, never mind.
God
I was
damn
wrong.
it.
He was very much more than that.
Nah, Moon was out for blood that run.
I'm hungry for blood.
Hey, Alex,
She
you
has
got
the
another
most
kill.
kills.
Good job,
I
buddy.
did get another kill. Woo! And yet
You
I'm gonna be
killed
the
your
one to get around
girlfriend.
before you. I did actually. I figured, hey, let me go for the person that's winning, so that way she's less of a threat.
Oh, yeah, see? Little bitch. Little bitch mode. Little bitch mode.
Maggie, I love you, I promise.
That's not fair because my game is
Bitch mode.
lagging.
I'm sorry. I won't do it anymore.
I still hit him. I hit him for more.
God damn it! I got the first hit and everything.
Oh, come on. Why am
Yeah,
I
you were at, like,
not
20
going
health.
up? I'm trying to get this little
Are you
bitch.
looking up?
You're so
Oh my god, I forget that that's a thing. I keep missing
up.
it, dude.
So, stop being a pussy.
Did you just go into there? Vaughn, you're literally not allowed to do that.
You can add invisible walls.
Because the invisible walls would cover most. You little
No, you
bitch!
can just
Ah!
get him, Moon.
Come here.
Moon's just hopping around.
Oh, Moon, you got him on health if you hit him first.
Well, I don't think so anymore.
Oh shit.
Wow, good job, buddy.
I was on the phone call with my mom.
Oh,
Oh.
shit. Vaughn. Vaughn's a little
This-
bitch.
This is a match. Yeah.
Vaughn's a little bitch.
The fact that Moon ran away for like 30 seconds unharmed, though.
Joey, I hit
Well on
one
the phone with her
sentence.
mother.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Don't know how that happens, but it
So
happens.
I need to turn on the gamer.
No, you don't.
To turn on the gamer?
Turn on gamer mode. I gotta turn on the gamer mode on my computer
Where's
screen.
Alex? Where's Alex? There he is.
Darn, my
should
dog
be
was on me.
Damn it!
Got him.
I was low from fighting Vaughn.
I know you were. That's why I did it. I don't know what's happening anymore, guys.
It's all the women, yeah.
Hello, ladies. What's going on?
Hey.
I'm scared.
Who's
Hi.
going first?
How are you doing?
What if you guys do it at the same time?
Should we?
I mean, we could go into we
mean-
can go into the middle and do it at the same time.
Okay.
Over
No
here.
one hit, please.
Over here. Over here.
On when the timer says 4 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yep. So come in the middle. Butts to butts type of thing.
Oh my
One,
goodness.
Go.
2, now!
Oh my god!
Damn it! Of course it was Vader. Of course it was Vader.
Never challenge
Should we all
Vader
do
to a saber fight. Let's go.
Should we all do it?
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
You know what?
We know what happened last time.
No, it's
I
fine.
don't know.
You
I actually
might
don't.
do.
Was I the one who won that one? I genuinely don't remember.
Yes, yes.
Was I the one who won, or
Alright,
was
to,
Vaughn the one
to
who
the middle,
won?
to the middle, to the middle. No, it was you.
When it's 4:45. Everyone in the middle.
445.
4:45.
Now.
Oh, he caught up to me.
All
and
right.
Killed
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I caught up. I caught up with that one round.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, sadly I cannot take first place because 3 wins
Oh.
is first, but I at least stand a chance for second. Or third, I mean, because 2 people.
Hey, hey,
wins.
hey, hey, hey! What the fuck?
Well, that's fucked up because I was already fighting Vaughn.
No, 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 no!
Hey, Vaughn. No, shit.
You gotta jump first.
I did.
Yeah!
Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding
Oh
me.
yeah, you gotta fight the beast.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Fight the beast. How bad do you want first?
Hi, Maggie. How are you?
Take
How you
down the
doing?
beast. You can do it.
Nope, she got it.
Yeah.
She got it.
She's too good at this.
Holy crap. Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna
No,
get it
I'm gonna
anyways,
take my
but,
last
you know.
place.
I'm gonna take my last place and go somewhere else. Screw you guys.
Screw you guys.
Oh,
I love this game.
wait, Al, he left the world?
Yeah, it's midnight.
Oh.
Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
So who got a
No.
phone call?
That's probably
Not
Moon.
me.
No, it was me. I
Oh, that was
started
fun.
my phone.
I was gonna blame Moon just because you mentioned being on the call with your mom earlier.
True.
Alright.
She just
Wait,
told me
was
to
fun.
put my alarm
Your
at 5.
parents are not home?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, lame.
Oh, wait, huh?
Yeah, they are. They're just
So
like,
why were
No,
you,
wait,
why were
you
you on a
said
call
something
with your
about 5?
mom?
oh, yeah. I was.
Yeah.
Wait, you said something about 5? Wait, what happened?
My mom
Yes.
told me to put my alarm at 5 a.m.
Oh,
Wait,
fuck
Whoa,
that.
what the
Why are you still
fuck?
awake?
Yeah, go to bed.
Nah.
wait, for what?
5 hours of sleep is
Yeah,
fine.
wait, why?
I might have to wake up.
The gym.
Go
I've
to
got
sleep.
4.
No.
Early in
You
the
might
Yeah,
have, hold on,
morning?
bed.
Maggie, you might have to wake up at 4?
4:30.
I wake up at 4:30. I
Go
start
to
getting ready,
bed,
but
you psychopaths!
Bro,
Absolute
didn't Soul tell
psychos.
you? You know how many days I didn't sleep? 3 days.
She didn't sleep for 3 days.
Why?
'Cause I was too busy
Alex
crying.
says yawning.
I can understand 1 day maybe, but 3?
Too busy crying.
I don't even drink caffeine.
Same. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you.
Caffeine does nothing for me.
Same. That's why I don't drink it.
Yeah, I drink it, but it doesn't do anything, so.
Mhm.
Wait, what are we doing? I'm confused.
Well,
Guys,
we are
I'm
all
hopping off.
Yeah.
Well,
Who's
Get
I
some
highly doubt
rest,
that Jack-
girl. Get some rest.
Girls, plural, both of you.
Yes, both of you, please. Oh my god. Meg, you have to take care of middle schoolers.
Yeah, you have to take care of other human beings.
Get some rest.
Yeah.
Mm.
and Max, go to sleep.
You're supposed to be a good role model for them.
Exactly.
I am a good. I'm okay without sleep.
Is it one of the things you're taught in school is make sure to get 8 hours of sleep?
Yeah, you know, school's
do on
kind of
the
bullshit
weekend, I
with the
make
8
up for
hours of
that.
sleep, but you know.
3 hours
I'll
later.
make up for that on the weekend.
That's true.
You guys are lucky you're not in my time zone. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm in Florida right now, so I'm an hour ahead of both of you.
Oh.
So,
Well, actually, you're an hour ahead of all 4 of us.
All of us.
Oh well, yeah, all of you guys. But
Excuse me.
I think I'm the only one. So Alec is in a different time zone, and I'm in a different time zone, and that's it. Everybody else is in the same time zone.
Alec is 2 hours earlier, so for him it's 10 p.m. 10 a.m.
It's
He's on the other
10
side of the
a.m.,
world.
Oh my god.
He's in Japan.
He's living in the future.
Whoa! But
Yeah.
alright. I'm gonna call it GG's.
Yeah, peace.
GG's.
Sounds
It was
good.
so fun playing
Uh,
with you guys. Thanks for
Tomorrow
having
will
me.
not be on, but Wednesday, what did we agree to? Asphalt?
Asphalt 9,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Question: when are we playing Minecraft?
Good question.
Yeah. How about next Wednesday?
Yeah, we can do that next week.
Yeah.
And if you want to join us for Asphalt, it's on Switch for free.
I don't have.
I think it's on.
Switch.
Isn't it on PC too?
It's not cross-platform though.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't have a Switch.
Oh, get a Switch.
I
Get
will
one.
try.
It's only $200 if you get the light.
Wait, Jackie, you can play it on mobile too.
Really?
It's not
It's
cross-platform.
still not cross-platform.
Are you Asphalt? Do something about your crossplay bullshit, please.
Well,
Yeah,
And put
it's
it on,
it's
and put it on
cross-progression.
PlayStation 2. Put it on PlayStation 2.
see ya. I am probably not going to be on comms on Wednesday because I'm going to be out.
And about.
Wait, what day you said?
Wednesday. I mean, I'm leaving Tuesday to Friday morning.
Oh, but you'll
So-
still be able to play.
I'll be
just
able
not
to play.
stream.
Yeah, I'm not streaming and I'm not going to be on comms, most likely.
Got it. Wait, so does that mean you and Feck are still doing your show on Thursday, or is that on wait?
We're probably going to be watching it individually. We're not going to be on call for it, but we're probably watching it.
Got it. Okay.
Cause it's on it's on tomorrow. Whoa, it's on Thursday. So
It's on.
Okay, I'm gonna head out.
All
Good night,
right.
Yeah.
guys. Bye.
Yep.
peace.
Good night.
Have
Y'all
a
have
good
a good
one.
one.
Yeah.
Good night. Okay. Yeah, good night to you guys as well. And as I've said, I'm not gonna be here for the next 3 days at least. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I know I'm not gonna be here. Friday, I have no idea if I'm gonna be here or not. I'm probably gonna be exhausted. But maybe I'll stream a little bit of like Animal Crossing, because I have been doing a lot on that island, and I do want to show you guys what I've been doing. But who knows? Or I'll do solo games and try to get a fucking win, because I haven't done that yet. Ah, Krampus, fuck you. It's just my camera glitching until I get a new one is just going to be Krampus. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Bit of a shorter one, but we had a really long one on Saturday, so I'm okay with it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you. I'll see you when I see you. I'll see you on the weekend. Peace out. If you want content from me, it's gonna be every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube, just to get your little dose of Brit still. YouTube is at Warzy. YouTube.com/@Warzy. The @ the @ symbol, and then WARSEE. And that is where you will find me on YouTube. And I mean, I post on Twitter every once in a while. Twitter.com/Warzy1. WARSEE1. The number 1. So, yeah. I'll see you guys at some point. I'll see you guys around, I guess. I hope you guys enjoy your week. I need to turn on my music. There we go. I hope you guys enjoy your week. I'll see you on the weekend. Peace out. Have a good one.